Well, hello, my darlings. Here I am doing my second video for YouTube. Um, I'm Jane B. Lee. I'm an author. My latest book out, just November 17th, is The Red Bitch's Revenge. And I'm going to talk a little bit about writing and things I do in writing. I did figure out some of the problems I had with my first video. That was the first one. And what my problem was that I'd written it in the way I would normally write something, and then found out that I need my glasses to read it. So this time I did it in great big felt tip pen type. So it's a lot easier for me to see, and I hope I don't go over things too many times, just setting things up so that it all works out in a short period of time, but with some good information. Okay, the first things that people look at first is the cover of the book, and then second they read the back. They read what we call the blurb. And last time I read you what the blurb was on the back of the book, but we're always looking at things to try to improve them and make them better. So this is the new blurb, and it goes, Dana, a seemingly innocent teen, having witnessed the brutal murder of her mother, descends into the dark underworld of drug lords and murderers, relying only on her martial arts skills for revenge. Dana is quickly given the nickname the Red Bitch by the drug lords she chases. Dana assembles a small crew of confident, successful, and dangerous women and goes after the killers. Yet by day, her life revolves around her father's art gallery, her child, and extended family. Can she live in both worlds? The bigger question is, can she survive the depraved underworld? So that is the new blurb, and so whenever I get a chance, I will put that on the new books that get printed. Again, the books are available on my website, and shipping is free, and they all get signed and dedicated by me. So that's something I'll go into again. Also on the back of the book is the portion of it that says about me, so you know something about the author. So this is the back of the book, and you can see my picture is down at the bottom. And so I rewrote my about the author for my new book, which is Angel the Assassin. So I have to be turning in the blurbs for Angel the Assassin as well as about the author. And so the new one about the author goes, Jane's novels revolve around strong, successful, dangerous women. Jane's writing career started in high school. She began with poems, prose, short stories, plays, and eventually novels. Jane's love for writing bloomed when she began to travel. She has visited every U.S. state and over 60 countries. She uses those experiences as inspiration for her book and plays. Jane has had 2 plays on stage and published her first novel, Identity, out in 2017. The Love and Revenge series, which we're talking about now, started with the Red Bitch's Revenge. That came out in November 18th of 2019, just fairly brand new. Jane has published over 50 technical articles on environmental topics. She holds 2 patents for environmental equipment. As a transgender woman and active member of the LGBTQ community since 1993, Jane has found her passion giving LGBTQ characters the voice they deserve. So that's about the author. So it's going to be pretty much changed so that it fits the different things that goes into. Now, I touched on this a little bit last time, but I wanted to go in a little bit more in depth in this. And that is when I love to go to bars and restaurants and do book signings at bars and restaurants. And the reason I like to do that is because you can sit down and talk to the person who's buying your book and find out why they want to buy the book and something about them. And I always end up finding somebody I want to use as a character in the next book. So that's how that works out. But that I get asked quite a bit. And the question that's asked is, how do I write? How do you come to writing a book? Everybody does it differently. As I said before, we all do this differently. A friend of mine, Jo, she's in England. She's an English writer, and she is incredible. She's really incredible. She's writing a series of books right now, and I think I will get the name for you, but it's the Salisbury Tales, I think is the name of her series. And she's incredible. I mean, there's days that I get emails from her, and she said she did 6,000 words. 6,000 words, that's incredible. My goal is to do a minimum of 500 words a day. Minimum. And that takes me an hour easily, and I just got to get it done sometime during the day. And my target is 2,000 words a day, and that's anywhere from 4 to 8 hours to get 2,000. To get 6,000 words in, I don't know how she does it. And she publishes on ebooks only her novels every 4 months or so, which is incredible. But she also has a binder, and in that binder she has 150 characters. And she's got a bio on each one of them, and the bios are from 1 to 4 pages. Can you imagine that? So she's got all of her characters laid out, and that's the way she writes her books. And then another friend of mine, Gabriella, she's just getting ready to publish her new book. It's a novella. And the way she writes is she writes strictly on her computer. She just sits on the computer and starts writing. And that's the way she puts her books together, is just from writing. Does a little outline and away she goes. So other people I've talked to do extensive outlines of the book on each chapter and what they want each chapter to be and what they want to explain in each chapter and all that good stuff. But, that's what they do. The way I do it is different from most what everybody else does. I start off with an idea, and then I start writing on yellow tablets. I told you this before, but I start writing on yellow tablets, and they start out not too complicated, and then get more and more complicated as I go along. And I sort of let the book tell me where it's going instead of me telling the book where it's going. So it leads me, the characters in the book, the lead character in the book, leads me through the story. And they can have a lot to tell. In The Red Bitch's Revenge, it's 141,000 words. Writers go by the number of words because the size of the book can differ, the size of the pages. But in the 6x9 format, that's 515 pages. So it's a pretty big book. Actually, it's 2 novels in one. The average novel is 70 to 80,000 words. So at 141, it's basically 2 novels, all written in one. And when I went to publish it, and my editor was looking at it, and I was talking to publishers about it to get it published, and they kept saying, well, you need to cut it in half, make it into 2 books. Cut it in half, make it into 2 books. And I talked to my editor about it, one of my editors about it, and she goes, don't you dare. Don't you dare. She says, that book is an arc. It has a beginning and a middle and an end, and if you cut it in half, it's just not going to work. So it came out the way it's supposed to come out. And so that's how that one ended up that way. That's how I ended up being 141,000 words. Editing, it took a year to write the book. That was one thing. I get asked, how long does it take? It's a year to write the book. Editing took 6 to 7 months. There was actually 17 different edits that it went through before it was finished. First one I did, and I ended up throwing out the first 5 chapters. Literally cut them off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 121,000 words out the window. No more. Another 5 chapters took another 20,000 words. Of the next 5 chapters, of those I took probably 5,000 words and spread it around in different parts of the book. Then after I finished doing that, then it went to my beta readers. They read it. They get a binder like this. This is for the new book. Angel the Assassins, but they get a binder like this, which has the book in it, and they go through it and make notes on the paper as they go through it and finish it. Then I sit down with them, and we talk about what changes they thought I should be making in the book. Then it goes to a professional editor, and she sits down and she goes through the entire book, paragraph by paragraph. And I get an email back, and on one side is my book, and on the other side is her comments on my book. And sometimes I love her dearly, but God, I hate her because it's so difficult sometimes doing the stuff that she wants to do, and you have to look at it and think about everything. And I'm just really glad that she takes care of me that way. Her name is Sue Ann Helen Gottfield, and her website is westofmars.com. And so she's a good person to talk to if you're looking at writing a book and you want to have an editor. She's excellent. Expensive, but excellent. The other thing is the cover. And I had a contest for the cover, and the winner of the contest was Humbert Galafo and of 99 Designers. And he lives in Italy. But, anymore, everything is around the world. It doesn't stop anywhere. So that's what he does. And it's quite a challenge then, once you've done all that, is getting it published. And I ended up going to Ingram Sparks to publish the book because of their distribution. Publishers do great distribution, horrible marketing. It's up to you to do the marketing, so you have to do the best you can for the marketing. And one of the reasons I'm on YouTube is to talk about marketing and marketing my book. So that gives you an idea of what we go through and to get the book together and get it out. When I'm asked by people, how do I write a book, or how do I get together to write a book, I'm saying you sit down with a paper and pencil and you actually just start writing. And if you don't start writing, it doesn't get started. That's the basic answer I give to everybody. Now you can check me out. You have more detailed information about me, about my books. There's information about the books. There's also a blog in there about my writings, the things that a writer goes through when we're putting our programs together. And then there's also short stories and poems that are free. I mean, you can just go back to, it says free short stories and poems. And you can go back and read my short stories and poems and see if you like them. Again, thank you very much. My website is Jane's Adventures in Storyland. That comes out www.janesadventuresinstoryland.com. It's long, but it's easy to remember. And I want to thank you all very much for listening to me again, and I'll try and see you again tomorrow. Thank you very much again.